Okay, let's unpack this. Imagine a dream, right? It's shared by, well, tens of thousands of ambitious young people in Bangladesh.
Mm,
Pursuing higher education somewhere else, abroad. Opening doors to global careers, seeing new cultures.
yeah, that classic aspiration.
But standing between that dream and actually making it happen, often it's just a single, really crucial step. Sort of a linguistic stepping stone, you could say.
And what's truly fascinating here, I think, is how one specific assessment, the International English Language Testing System, IELTS,
Right, IELTS.
it basically checks your skills, listening, reading, writing, speaking. And it acts as this pivotal gateway for those aspirations you mentioned.
Gateway, yeah, that's a good word for it.
It's not just another test on the list. Our sources say it's genuinely extremely important for Bangladeshi students aiming for those top universities. Think UK, USA, Canada, Australia.
The big destinations.
Exactly. It's like the linchpin for their international mobility plans.
You've really hit on something crucial there. And what makes this gateway idea so compelling is, well, the sheer amount of data showing how important it is.
Right.
For this deep dive, we've gathered a whole stack of sources, lots of detailed discussions, specifically on IELTS for Bangladeshi students. So our mission today is to pull out the most important nuggets of knowledge, the key insights. We want to help you, our listener, understand not just what IELTS is.
But why? Why it's such a central, almost indispensable piece of the puzzle for this huge group of students globally.
Exactly.
So we'll explore the reasons behind its role, the big picture and the nitty-gritty details. We'll look at the rising trends, the common challenges students bump into.
Oh, yeah. The challenges are key.
Definitely. And maybe most importantly, some effective strategies to actually tackle those hurdles.
Right.
So by the end of this, you should really get not just the what of IELTS, but the why. Why it matters so profoundly for that journey abroad, and maybe even its wider implications.
Okay, so let's start there. How does this gateway, as you called it, actually open the doors to global education, to career opportunities? It starts with the basics, right? Like the first handshake with a university overseas.
Absolutely. At its core, the very first thing you, the listener, need to grasp is that pretty much every single university and college in those English-speaking countries, they'll want some kind of proof of English language proficiency.
It's not just a nice to have.
No, not at all. It's fundamental, non-negotiable. Think about it from their side, for the university's perspective.
Okay.
They need to feel confident that you can actually follow, complex lectures in English, but not just listen.
Right. You need to participate.
Exactly. Participate in discussions, write academic papers, understand all the reading they assign you. Basically, thrive in an environment where English is the main language.
Makes sense. If you can't handle the language, you can't access the learning no matter how smart you are.
Precisely. Without that basic language skill, even the brightest students would just struggle. They wouldn't be able to keep up.
And when we talk about IELTS specifically, what really stands out is how widely it's accepted. It's not just a few places, is it? It feels almost universal.
Oh, it's far more pervasive than that. That's a really key insight from our sources. IELTS is widely accepted by over 11,000 institutions globally.
11,000, wow.
Yeah, it's a staggering number. It tells you straight away, this isn't some niche test for one region or one type of school.
No, it's a global standard.
It absolutely is. It's established itself as the global currency for English proficiency. And what this widespread reliance really tells us, it's not just about the test itself. It's about this huge global agreement almost that English is the lingua franca for higher education, for professional life.
A common language for a globalized world.
Exactly. It creates this interesting intersection. On one side, it offers a standard, trusted benchmark, makes international admissions way easier, more streamlined.
Okay.
But on the other side, it creates this sort of universal bottleneck, doesn't it? Where being good at one specific language becomes the main gatekeeper to all these global opportunities.
That's an interesting way to put it. A bottleneck.
And this trust, it's not just academic. It reflects how tied language has become to, well, economic and social progress globally. It just smooths the path for cross-border education and work.
Okay, so it's not just about getting into the course. It's also about these other official requirements outside the university itself. But let's get practical. What scores are we talking about? Is there one magic number everyone needs?
If only it were that simple. It's definitely more nuanced. Our sources show that the minimum scores usually land somewhere between 6.0 to 7.5 on that 9-band scale they use.
6 to 7.5. Okay.
But, and this is really crucial for you listening, if you're planning this journey, these scores aren't fixed. They vary a lot.
How so? Depends on the university, the course.
Exactly. Think about it. A really competitive master's or PhD program at a top-tier research university, maybe in something like medicine or law, they'll likely demand a much higher score. Maybe that's 7.5 or even higher sometimes.
Because the language is complex.
Precisely. They need to know you can handle really dense academic arguments and discussions. But then maybe a foundation course or a diploma or even some undergraduate degrees in fields that aren't super language heavy, they might be fine with a 6.0.
So no shortcuts. You have to check for your specific program.
Absolutely essential. You can't just aim for a vague, good score. You need to know exactly what your specific target program and institution requires. Sometimes down to the decimal point, like you said.
That brings up a bigger question, though. If so many places, universities, governments rely on this one test, what does that tell us about its reliability? Why is it so trusted worldwide?
That's a really fundamental question. And the fact that it is relied upon so heavily, globally, it speaks volumes about how reliable and reputable it's seen to be, as a fair, consistent way to measure English skills.
So institutions trust the method.
It seems so. They trust that it accurately assesses those 4 core skills we mentioned: listening, reading, writing, speaking. And this standardization is incredibly valuable in today's world, right?
Yeah, it gives everyone a common benchmark.
Exactly. A common, objective benchmark for language ability, no matter where the student is coming from. It suggests there's a high degree of confidence that the test can predict reasonably well if a student will manage in an English-speaking academic setting.
So, like, if a university in the UK and one in Australia both accept a 7.0,
they have a shared understanding of what that student can do in English. It simplifies admissions, reduces potential language issues later on. It ensures a baseline level of communication, making that transition smoother for everybody involved.
Okay. So the academic door opens with the right IELTS score. But, like you've hinted, that's just step one. You could get into your dream university.
Right.
But if you can't actually get into the country legally, that acceptance letter doesn't mean much. So what's the role of IELTS in clearing that legal hurdle, the visa?
Precisely. And this is where IELTS shifts from being just an academic thing to a legal necessity. Often, it's non-negotiable for entering the country.
Which countries are we mainly talking about here?
Well, for major study destinations, think UK, Australia, Canada, and Ireland. Our sources are clear. IELTS isn't just recommended for the visa. It's an integral part of the visa application process.
Integral. So unavoidable.
Pretty much. And immigration officers, they're not just ticking a box. They need actual proof that you won't just land there and struggle massively with daily life because you can't communicate.
We don't want people unable to function, basically.
Exactly. Or becoming reliant on public services because of language barriers. They need convincing that you can successfully navigate their society.
And why do they need that specific proof? Is it just about lectures again, or is it broader than that? More about everyday life?
Oh, it's very practical. It goes way beyond the classroom. The requirement comes from this pragmatic need to ensure the student can, yes, understand lectures, write assignments, and communicate effectively in English for their studies.
The academic side.
Right. But it also covers all those everyday things. Imagine trying to ask for directions if you're lost, or report an emergency, or just dealing with landlords, opening a bank account, making friends, participating in campus life.
Yeah, basic survival skills almost.
If you can't follow a lecture or talk to your professor, your studies will be incredibly hard, maybe impossible. But also, if you struggle with basic communication day to day, that can lead to real isolation, serious personal problems.
That makes sense.
So the visa requirement isn't just academic. It's a wider assessment of your ability to integrate, to function independently in that English-speaking society. It's about ensuring you have a successful, self-sufficient stay.
That makes the practical need really crystal clear. But sometimes these general requirements hide important details. Are there specific examples, maybe specific countries or visa types, where this is particularly strict, maybe a detail students often miss?
Yes, there's one really clear example that stands out in the sources. Canada's SDS, the Student Direct Stream.
SDS. Okay, what's special about that?
So SDS is designed to speed up study permit applications for students from certain countries, including Bangladesh. But it specifically mandates a minimum IELTS score of 6.0 in each band.
Ah, in each band, not just the overall score.
Exactly. And that each band part is absolutely critical. It signals to immigration and universities, too, that you don't just have general understanding, but balanced, practical skills for daily life and active participation.
Balanced skills, meaning?
Well, imagine you're great at reading and listening.
Mm-hmm.
You understand every lecture, every book, but then you struggle to actually speak clearly in a group project, or you can't write a coherent email to your professor, or even just ask for help if you need it.
Right, you need all 4 skills to actually function well.
Precisely. The SDS isn't just looking for a high average score. It demands competence across the board, listening, reading, writing, and speaking, to make sure you won't just survive, but actually thrive. It avoids situations where a student understands passively but can't actively communicate, which makes for a much smoother integration into Canadian life and studies.
So the implication here is stark. IELTS becomes this non-negotiable step.
Yeah.
It affects whether you get into your course and whether you can legally even enter the country. It really is a gatekeeper.
Absolutely. It's a key indicator of your ability to navigate both academic and daily life abroad. Without that solid proof of English skills, immigration might just see you as unprepared for the challenges.
Even with an admission letter.
Even with an admission letter. It could lead to visa rejection. It's a fundamental filter, really, designed to ensure students are prepared, which ultimately benefits both the student and the host country. It streamlines things for qualified students while protecting their immigration systems.
So for someone planning this, IELTS isn't just another document to submit. It's a core pillar of the whole international plan.
It truly is foundational.
Okay, so that covers getting in academically and legally. But lots of students think longer term, right? They're not just thinking about a 2-year master's. They might be hoping to work after studies, maybe even stay permanently. How does IELTS fit into those longer term ambitions?
That's where you really see IELTS as a long-term investment. And it's something many students, quite wisely, think about right from the start.
Planning ahead.
Exactly. Many are aiming for those post-study work opportunities, or even hoping to get permanent residency, PR, down the line. And the key thing to understand is that the effort you put into getting a strong IELTS score right at the beginning, it often pays off again, much later, unlocking these next steps.
So it's not just a one-time hurdle you clear and then forget about. It keeps working for you.
Far from it. Our sources are clear. IELTS scores are frequently required for these future pathways. It's not just a vague idea, it's often a concrete prerequisite.
Like for getting a job after graduation.
Definitely. For job applications in certain fields, employers in English-speaking countries need to know you can communicate effectively in a professional setting, present ideas, write reports, collaborate with colleagues, deal with clients.
Makes sense.
And beyond jobs, it's commonly mandated for skilled immigration programs, especially in popular places like Australia, Canada, and New Zealand. These countries often use point systems for PR, and a high IELTS score can give your application a significant boost. It can literally be the difference between getting accepted for residency or not.
Wow, that's a powerful incentive. Are there specific jobs or professions where this reliance on IELTS is really obvious, where it's like a license to practice?
Yes, very much so. The sources mention professional license registrations as a key area. Think about specific jobs like nurses or engineers, for example.
Okay.
If you're a nurse trained overseas and you want to work in, say, Canada or the UK, you need to register with their nursing board. And they will almost certainly demand a specific, often quite high IELTS score.
Why so high?
Safety, mainly. They need absolute confidence you can communicate clearly and accurately with patients, doctors, other staff. Miscommunication in healthcare can have incredibly serious consequences.
Life or death, potentially.
Absolutely. And it's similar for engineers needing to discuss complex technical plans or
Yeah.
teachers needing to interact clearly with students and parents. It's about ensuring professional competence, public safety, public trust. It goes way beyond just general fluency.
So it's not just about classroom discussions anymore. It's about being able to, save a life, build a bridge safely, manage a complex project where clear communication is everything.
Precisely.
So what does this mean for students planning their whole life path, not just the next few years at uni? It really sounds like IELTS becomes this foundational piece, almost a strategic asset for their future.
This brings up a really important point about strategy and looking ahead, something every potential international student should really think about. It highlights that IELTS isn't just some short-term obstacle you get over on the way to university.
It's bigger than that.
Much bigger. It's a profound long-term investment in your entire life trajectory. It sets the stage for success after you graduate. The economic benefits, the social advantages tied to proving you have strong English skills, they're huge.
So a good score opens more than just the university door.
It can open doors to a fulfilling career, provide that pathway to stable permanent residency, help you integrate more deeply into a new society. It shows more than just language ability. It shows a commitment, a proactiveness about engaging with the host country's language and culture. And employers and immigration officials really value that.
Right.
So for many, getting that good IELTS score is the first, very tangible and highly strategic step towards building a truly global future. It proves they're ready for that world stage.
Okay, so it's clear IELTS is fundamental, from getting into uni to getting a visa to long-term careers. But does getting a strong score, like really high, offer more than just ticking the box? Does it give you a genuine edge over others who just meet the minimum?
Oh, absolutely. Meeting the minimum gets you in the door, maybe. But excelling in IELTS, that gives you a significant competitive advantage.
How so?
Well, imagine a really popular course, limited spots, and they get hundreds, maybe thousands of applications from all over the world.
Intense competition.
Exactly. In that huge pool of applicants, all fighting for those places, a higher IELTS score can really make your application shine. It signals you have a superior command of English and probably a higher chance of succeeding academically.
And does that translate into getting into better universities specifically, more prestigious ones?
It definitely helps with getting into those better-ranked universities. Think about it. If a top-tier uni gets applications from loads of students who look great on paper, similar grades, strong essays, good recommendations, but some have an IELTS 8.0 and others just scraped by with the minimum 6.0.
The higher score stands out.
It really does. It signals stronger communication skills, which can be the deciding factor for those elite programs with super strict entry requirements.
Right.
And beyond just getting in, it makes it significantly easier to get scholarships.
Ah, the money aspect.
Crucial for many students. Scholarship committees want to back candidates who are most likely to succeed and be good ambassadors for the university. Strong English skills are a massive predictor of that success. So a high IELTS score makes you a much more attractive candidate for funding, which can make a huge difference financially.
And this edge, it extends beyond just admissions and money, right?
Yeah.
It seems like it opens doors during the academic experience, too. It makes it richer.
That's spot on. Our sources mention that students with really strong IELTS scores are often preferred for internships and research assistantships.
Which are super valuable.
Absolutely critical for gaining practical experience, building professional networks, advancing your career prospects. If you're competing for a research assistant spot, for example, the professor needs to know you can handle complex academic papers, communicate clearly in lab meetings, maybe help write reports or present findings.
Yeah, communication is key there.
A high IELTS score gives them that confidence in your abilities right away. It positions you better for those valuable real-world experiences that can really shape your future path.
So it's not just about getting in or getting funding, but actually enhancing your whole time there. And you mentioned confidence earlier, too. That feels like a huge psychological benefit, maybe less tangible, but really important.
It is, and it's subtle, but incredibly powerful. A strong score genuinely boosts their confidence in academic life abroad, and in just daily life, too.
How does that work?
Well, imagine moving to a completely new country, new education system, new culture. If you're constantly worried, will I understand the lecture? Can I express myself in class? Can I even order coffee? That's a huge mental weight.
Yeah, exhausting.
But coming in with a high IELTS score means you've already proven to yourself and to others that you have the language tools you need. It frees up so much mental energy. You can focus more on your studies, engage more deeply with people, spend less time just struggling with the language barrier.
Leads to a smoother start.
Much smoother. A more effective transition into that new environment. It really fosters personal growth and just a better overall experience. It becomes a tool for standing out, for feeling empowered, and for integrating more easily.
Given all these benefits, all these requirements, it's really no surprise that the trend in Bangladesh is just soaring upwards. We're talking about a massive number of students taking this exam, aren't we?
Yes, the numbers are quite staggering, actually. Our sources explicitly state that every year, tens of thousands of Bangladeshi students take the IELTS exam.
Tens of thousands every year.
It's a significant chunk of the aspiring student population in Bangladesh.
Yeah.
It really illustrates this powerful, almost national drive or aspiration towards international opportunities.
That's a huge number. What's driving it? What are the key reasons behind this massive surge? What are these students looking for that they feel they can't get at home?
Well, it seemed to be a mix of factors, really. A combination of things pushing them out and things pulling them towards opportunities abroad.
Push and pull factors. Okay.
Firstly, there's simply a growing desire for foreign degrees. And this isn't unique to Bangladesh, obviously.
Yeah.
It's a global trend.
Right.
Many students see going abroad as the path to higher quality education, maybe more specialized programs they can't find locally, different ways of teaching, and getting a credential that's recognized worldwide. They want to broaden their horizons academically and culturally, maybe find specific research areas that are world-leading elsewhere.
And is that desire linked to what's available domestically? Are there push factors from within Bangladesh contributing to this?
Absolutely. That's a really critical piece of context from our sources.
Yeah.
The issue of limited high-quality education options domestically.
Okay.
Now, Bangladesh has definitely made big strides in expanding education, but the reality seems is that the number of truly top-tier universities or specialized research programs or just well-resourced institutions, it might not be enough to meet the huge demand from this incredibly ambitious, growing youth population.
So not enough supply for the demand.
Essentially, this creates a significant push factor. It compels students to look overseas for potentially better academic environments, a wider range of subjects, maybe better facilities than they can easily access at home. It leads to intense competition for the good domestic spots and naturally pushes people to look at international options.
Okay, so a push from limited options at home and a pull from the desire for foreign degrees. And those opportunities abroad usually mean something very concrete too, right? Beyond just the learning experience itself.
Precisely. The ultimate pull factor for a lot of students is often the promise of better job prospects abroad.
The career angle.
Yeah. Many aren't just going for the degree. They see it as a launch pad for a successful global career. Often with higher salaries, access to more advanced industries, maybe greater social mobility than they might find back home.
And English is key to that.
Undisputed key. English proficiency, proven by IELTS, unlocks those international job markets. Tech, finance, healthcare, engineering, you name it.
So when you put it all together,
You get this powerful mix, this growing desire for world-class degrees, the real challenges of limited top-quality options at home, and then this irresistible lure of significantly better career paths overseas. That explains why you see such a massive volume of Bangladeshi students lining up for the IELTS exam. It's a reflection of deep socioeconomic realities, educational pressures, driving this huge outflow of talent and ambition onto the world stage.
so for this huge wave of students, who exactly needs IELTS in Bangladesh? Is it just those aiming for a traditional bachelor's or master's at a university, or does it cover other types of study too?
It's actually quite broad. It covers pretty much the whole spectrum of higher education you might pursue abroad. Our sources clarify it's required for students applying for a really wide range of programs.
Not just degrees.
Not just the standard bachelor's degrees, master's programs, or PhD positions at well-known universities. It also extends to pathways like foundation or diploma courses.
Okay, so prep courses or vocational training too.
Exactly. So whether you're just finishing high school and need a foundation year, or you're looking to get a specific vocational skill through a diploma, or you're aiming for advanced doctoral research, chances are IELTS is going to be a fundamental requirement for your international study plans.
And are there specific countries or universities that are particularly popular destinations for these students, places that keep popping up?
Yes, there are definitely some clear favorites mentioned in the sources, countries that draw the biggest crowds of Bangladeshi students.
Like where?
Well, the UK is a huge one, with globally famous names like the University of Oxford and UCL, University College London, huge magnets for their academic reputation and history.
Right.
Then there's Australia, known for its lifestyle, quality unis like the University of Sydney and Monash, and importantly, those post-study work options.
Canada, too, I imagine.
Definitely. Canada is massively popular. Institutions like the University of Toronto, UBC, and Vancouver. Canada is also seen as having welcoming immigration policies and a strong economy.
And New Zealand.
New Zealand is on the list, too, with places like the University of Auckland. Attractive for its quality of life and education system, these are all places where English is the main language, obviously, so strong English skills are absolutely essential.
Makes perfect sense for those countries. But you mentioned the USA earlier. Is IELTS always the go-to there, or is it a bit different compared to, say, the UK or Canada?
That's a really important nuance, actually. It highlights how diverse the U.S. higher education system is. While IELTS is widely accepted by thousands of U.S. institutions.
So it's an option there, too.
Definitely a strong option. But our sources say it may be optional for some universities or specific programs.
Optional.
Yeah, the U.S. system is just so vast, over 4,000 degree granting institutions. Some might prefer other tests or accept a wider range of them compared to the more centralized systems in the UK or Canada.
So what are the alternatives in the U.S.?
Specifically, the sources mention TOEFL or Duolingo may be alternatives. So while IELTS is definitely recognized and widely used for the U.S., it's not always the only choice. That gives students aiming for the U.S. a bit more flexibility in which test they take, compared to its almost universal requirement for the U.K., Canada, or Australia.
Okay, so there are alternatives like TOEFL and Duolingo. That raises the question, why does IELTS remain so dominant overall, especially for those key destinations, UK, Canada, Australia? What keeps it as the main choice when other options exist?
That's a critical question, yeah. And our sources give us a pretty clear comparison that helps explain why IELTS holds its position so strongly. We can look at each test based on, say, how widely it's accepted, how easy it is to take in Bangladesh, and any specific things to note about them.
Okay, let's break that down. Start with IELTS itself. How does it measure up on those points?
All right, for IELTS, widely accepted, that's a definite yes globally. Bangladesh availability, also a strong yes. You've got major established test centers like IDP, the British Council, lots of locations, frequent test dates, pretty accessible.
And the key takeaway?
The keynote, as our sources emphasize, is that it's seen as the most trusted exam. That trust factor is huge for universities and immigration departments who need a reliable measure of language skills. It's been around a long time. Its methods are well understood and respected.
Okay, most trusted. How does TOEFL compare? Especially on availability in Bangladesh and maybe its style.
TOEFL, the test of English as a foreign language, it also gets a re-yes for being widely accepted globally, especially popular in the U.S., as we said. But for Bangladesh availability, the sources note limited centers.
So harder to find a test spot.
Potentially, yeah. Might be more challenging to find a convenient location or date compared to IELTS for students in Bangladesh. And the note for TOEFL. It's known for having more academic-style questions. The format might lean more heavily on university-level academic English, like tasks where you have to listen to a lecture snippet, read a related passage, and then speak or write, integrating information from both. Could be good for some, maybe tougher for others, depending on their comfort with that specific style.
Right. And then Duolingo. That one's gained a lot of ground, partly because it's online, right? How does it fit in?
Duolingo English test is quite different. For widely accepted, it's marked as I partially. That's a big difference.
Partially accepted.
Yeah. While some places adopted it, especially maybe during the pandemic for convenience, many top universities or key immigration pathways still don't accept it. So its acceptance is much patchier.
But availability must be good if it's online.
Exactly. Bangladesh availability is all online. Huge plus for convenience. You can take it from home. But the note sums up the trade-off. It's cheaper, but not accepted everywhere.
So convenient and cheaper, but risky in terms of acceptance.
That's the core issue. It might seriously limit your options depending on where you want to apply.
So if you weigh all that trust, availability, acceptance, especially for those big destinations for Bangladeshi students, what's the bottom line? Why does IELTS seem to stay on top?
Well, if we connect it all, despite having alternatives like TOEFL and the convenience of Duolingo, our sources really conclude that IELTS remains the most accepted and reliable exam globally, especially for UK, Canada, and Australia.
Right.
That reinforces its central role. The trust it's built over decades with institutions and governments, plus its solid global network of test centers. It just offers the most secure, widely recognized, and direct route for students targeting those specific, very popular countries.
So while others have their strength.
Like Duolingo's convenience or TOEFL's academic focus,
Yeah.
neither quite matches that universal stamp of approval and deep-rooted credibility that IELTS has, particularly for the main destinations that Bangladeshi students favor. It offers a level of certainty in what can be a really complex application process.
Okay. Given how incredibly important IELTS is and how high the stakes are, what are the common mistakes students make? Things that could actually derail their plans, even if they're working hard? Knowing these pitfalls seems crucial.
Oh, absolutely crucial. This is vital for anyone preparing. These common mistakes can genuinely delay things or even stop progress completely. It causes so much frustration, wasted time, and money.
So what's the first big one?
The first, and maybe the one with the biggest immediate impact mentioned in our sources, is taking IELTS too late.
Too late. How does that cause problems? What actually happens?
It directly and often severely delays admission and visa processes. Think about university application deadlines. They're usually pretty strict, often in the fall or early winter for the next academic year.
Right, you can't miss those.
Exactly. If you don't have your official IELTS score report ready and sent by that deadline, your application just won't even be looked at. Doesn't matter how good your grades are.
And visas take time too, right?
Notoriously long sometimes. Visa processing can take months, especially during busy periods. And you can't even start your visa application without a valid IELTS score. So leaving it too late creates massive, unnecessary stress, leads to missed deadlines.
And forces you to wait another year?
Often, yes. It can force students to defer their place for a whole year, which is incredibly frustrating, expensive, and just demoralizing. It pushes back your entire plan. It's a timing mistake that can literally change everything.
Okay, so timing is critical. Plan ahead. What about mistakes in the actual preparation for the test? What do students get wrong in how they study?
Another really significant mistake is not practicing speaking and writing properly.
Focusing too much on reading and listening, maybe?
Often, yeah. Reading and listening can feel a bit more straightforward, maybe less scary because they're receptive skills you're taking information in. But speaking and writing are productive skills. You have to create the language yourself.
And that takes specific practice.
It really does. These sections demand specific things: clear structure, good vocabulary, logical arguments, accurate grammar. For speaking, clear pronunciation, intonation. It requires focus, consistent practice, often with feedback. That goes beyond just being generally okay at English.
So you can't just rely on being conversational.
Students might overestimate their everyday chat skills or underestimate what the test actually asks for in those sections. Without dedicated practice on the specific task types, students often underperform here, even if their overall English is pretty good. They might be fluent talking to friends, but struggle to structure a formal essay or discuss abstract ideas academically under pressure.
So it's about test performance skills, not just general English. And what about how people study? Is memorizing answers a good strategy?
That's another critical error our sources flag. Relying only on memorization rather than real language skills. It's almost a trap.
Why is it a trap?
Because the IELTS test is designed very carefully to assess genuine communication ability. Your ability to use English flexibly, authentically, not just your ability to recall memorized phrases or sample answers.
Examiners can spot that.
Highly trained to spot it. If you just regurgitate memorized answers, they'll see the lack of spontaneity, the lack of real understanding. The test throws new prompts at you, asks you to analyze, synthesize, express your own thoughts coherently on the spot.
Memorized stuff won't work then.
It fails you completely when you get an unexpected question or need to engage in a nuanced discussion or tackle a task requiring actual critical thinking right there and then. It's about deep understanding and being adaptable, not just remembering things by heart.
And finally, there's a point that trips up even people with good English, focusing only on the overall score, not the individual parts.
This is a huge one, ignoring the importance of each band. Many students just aim for that overall score, maybe a 6.5 or 7.0, and think, great, I'm done.
But that's not always enough.
Often not. Our sources clearly state some universities require minimum 6.0 in every section, meaning listening, reading, writing, and speaking. Each one needs to hit that minimum.
So a low score in one section can sink you?
Absolutely. Even if you get, say, an amazing 8.0 in reading and listening, but you only manage a 5.5 in writing, you might not meet the university's specific entry rule, or the rule for a visa pathway like Canada's SDS we talked about.
That must be devastating if you thought you were fine.
It really can be. It just underlines why you absolutely need balanced preparation across all 4 skills. One weak link can invalidate an otherwise strong performance and stop your whole application cold. It's a tough reality of the requirements, but you have to know it.
Okay, those are crucial warnings. Hopefully, listening to this helps you identify those potential pitfalls and adjust your own strategy proactively. Understanding what not to do naturally brings us to the big question. How do you prepare effectively for such a high-stakes exam, avoiding those mistakes?
Exactly. Strategic, smart preparation is key. And the sources offer some really clear, actionable advice that significantly boosts your chances if you follow it.
What's the first big strategy?
The first, often really effective, particularly for students in Bangladesh where there's a strong infrastructure for it, is to enroll in IELTS coaching centers.
Why coaching centers? What do they offer beyond just studying books on your own?
Well, centers like the ones mentioned, British Council, Mentors, Safers, they provide invaluable structured guidance. You get experienced teachers who really know the exam inside out.
They know the format, the scoring.
Exactly. They know the common problems students face, and they can tailor teaching to address those. Crucially, they can give you personalized feedback, especially on speaking and writing, which is incredibly hard to get effectively when you're studying alone.
That feedback loop seems vital.
It really is.
Yeah.
Plus, the structured environment helps you stay focused, learn specific test-taking strategies, and they usually provide good, relevant materials. And don't underestimate the value of a regular schedule and being part of a group, great for motivation and keeping consistent.
Okay, structured guidance is one piece. What about the materials themselves? What should students definitely use?
You absolutely should practice from official Cambridge IELTS books. These are widely seen as the gold standard.
Why Cambridge specifically?
Because they're published by Cambridge University Press. And Cambridge Assessment English is one of the partners that actually creates the IELTS test. So these books contain real, authentic past test papers.
The closest thing to the actual exam.
Exactly. The difficulty, the question types, the format, it's all very close to what you'll face on test day. Using these means you're practicing with the most reliable stuff available. It gets you really familiar with the real exam experience, helps you accurately gauge where you stand. Ignoring these would be a big mistake.
Makes sense. Official materials are key. Now, beyond books and coaching centers, there's the whole internet. How can students leverage online resources effectively?
The internet is an incredible resource, often free or very affordable too. Students should definitely use online platforms as part of their mix.
Any specific recommendations from the sources?
Yeah, they mentioned some popular and effective ones like IELTS Lives, Magoosh, and YouTube.
IELTS Liz.
Yeah, IELTS Liz is really well known for her website and videos. Very clear, often free lessons and tips on all parts of the test. Breaks down complex stuff really well.
And Magoosh, YouTube.
Magoosh offers more comprehensive paid courses, lots of practice questions, video explanations, study plans. And YouTube, well, it's just a goldmine. Countless free tutorials, mock tests, strategy videos from different teachers. You get lots of perspectives.
So lots of flexibility online.
Huge flexibility. Different teaching styles, tons of extra material. It makes self-study much more accessible and lets you tailor things to how you learn best.
Okay, so you've got coaching, official books, online resources. What's the final crucial step to make sure you're really ready for the pressure of test day?
The final, absolutely non-negotiable step to cement your preparation and see if you're truly ready is take regular mock tests.
Practice exams under exam conditions.
Exactly. It's vital. Mock tests are like dress rehearsals. They simulate the real thing, the strict time limits for each section, the pressure of performing against the clock, the whole environment.
Why is that simulation so important?
Several reasons. It builds your stamina. It's a long test, mentally tiring. It forces you to practice time management, which is critical for reading and writing especially. And most importantly, it highlights your specific weaknesses under pressure.
Better to find out in a mock test than the real thing.
Precisely. It's a low-stakes way to make mistakes, learn from them, and adjust your strategy before the actual exam where it really counts. It helps you develop those real language skills under pressure, not just rely on tricks. It builds confidence and massively reduces anxiety on the day because you know exactly what's coming.
Okay, so bringing this all together, what does it all mean for you, our listener? We've seen how IELTS isn't just, another test to pass. It's really a foundational step. It's the ticket to global education and career for so many ambitious Bangladeshi students every year.
Yeah, it really is. It's that essential key, isn't it? Unlocking the doors to university admissions, getting those crucial visas, and even paving the way for longer-term chances work, residency abroad. It's the bridge connecting their dreams to international reality. And if you zoom out, look at the bigger picture. It just highlights how globalized education and careers have become. Preparing well, getting those high IELTS scores, it genuinely opens the door to limitless international opportunities. It makes IELTS much more than just an exam. It's a strategic launch pad for a global future.
A launch pad, I like that.
It's this recognized standard that helps bridge language and cultural gaps, enabling talent and ambition to move across borders. It's really shaping the global workforce of the future.
And that leaves us with a final, maybe provocative thought for you to consider. In a world that's so shaped by this global movement, this chase for international opportunities, what are the broader implications of relying so heavily on one dominant language test like IELTS?
Interesting question.
What does it mean for things like access and equity, for the future of how global talent flows? What does it really mean for individuals, for whole nations, when proficiency in English becomes such a massive factor in determining international success, shaping not just education, but entire lives, maybe even influencing where expertise ends up globally? Something to think about.